Yes, sir. UFC 306, Noche from the Spear. We got the crew back, Dan and Showdown Christine with me to break down these 10 fights. I know it's only 10 fights, but I'm not going to lie. I'm at least excited about these fights. I actually think I saw some people complaining about this card. I don't know if it was just the number of fights on the card, but I really like the fights on this card, to be honest with you. Yeah, there's a couple ones I think are just like, okay, those are gimmies for some of these guys, but I'm actually really excited for a lot of these fights here. So I can't wait for this card, even though it's 10 fights, should be awesome. Hopefully the production is awesome too, because I know Dana White's been talking this thing up. It feels like for months now about how sick it's going to be. So I hope it's as sick for the viewer at home as it is, which it kind of sounds like that's what he's going for. But I'll bring you guys in here. Dan, I'll start with you. What's going on? How you feeling on this Saturday morning?
Feeling good, man. It's good to be back on the show. Been absent last couple of weeks, so excited to be back here with y'all. Excited for this card, like you said. I know some people are saying it's like not the best. Only 10 fights is a bit of a bummer for DFS. I'm not gonna lie, but there's some great fights on this card, man. I mean, obviously, like the main event is probably it has the potential to be one of the fights of the year. It's certainly one of like the matchups of the year from a matchmaking perspective. It's like a really fascinating matchup. We get Grasso Shevchenko, the trilogy. Hopefully my queen Shev can take the title back like she should have last time. But yeah, man,
that fight still is a absolute kick in the fucking nuts. Just thinking about the fight.
Alexa Grasso saying I win the fight just like has been echoing in my head, and then DC having to be like, well, no, it was a draw. Yeah, that's been weighing on me. So tonight we make it right.
We all know it. She won the fight, and for some reason they gave it the draw. But whatever, we'll get to that fight when we get there. Showdown Christine, what's going on with you?
Nothing. I'm excited for tonight. It's going to be awesome. We're going to enter like the UFC metaverse or whatever you call it. And, I heard it was only 10 fights because it was going to cost significantly more for them to add anymore, for like the rental time in the Spear. And it was like 20 million plus. And I think Dana put like 10 million of his own money into it. So, I mean, if it's not good, it's going to be rough for him.
Yeah, he won't be a happy camper if it's not good. I'll tell you that. So I will say, though, I think he's got some badass fights that are going to make the card itself good, regardless of the production. But it does seem like the production is gonna be sick. So I hope it is.
Hopefully we get some finishes. The new glove situation has been kind of annoying for me.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I feel like we've started to see a few more finishes the past few weeks. I don't know, but we'll see with the new gloves thing. I think we've got some bangers though, so I don't think we're going to be disappointed, to be honest with you. But let's start with the first fight on the card. We'll work our way down. Obviously, we'll talk, from a betting perspective and a DraftKings perspective here if you're playing DFS. First one though is kind of a fight that I was talking about, which is it's kind of a gimme fight, like the Raul Rosas Jr. and Q Lang. They're giving this kid another win. Like that's what they're doing. It's NOCHE UFC. They're giving this kid a win. Give this kid someone a little bit more higher level. I think they're just really slow rolling him because they want to just showcase him, and that's what they're doing here. Like they're doing this here. I don't know any other. I know everyone's going to say the same thing, but I think Raul Rosas Jr. finishes this guy in probably the first round and a half of the fight. And I think he makes himself look amazing, and they showcase him here. That's what the UFC obviously wants with this fight. And I think that's what they're going to get here. So, Dan, I'll throw it to you. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is a simple breakdown.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Rosas should roll here. Arishi Lang, really suspect wrestling, really suspect chin. I'm fully expecting Rosas to win inside the distance. Like you said, it's a setup fight. I don't really mind them slow rolling him because he is 19. Like he's still like developing and growing into his body. So, we saw what happened with him and Christian Rodriguez. Like, it wasn't the worst performance, but they moved him up maybe just a little too fast. And like, we didn't really necessarily know what like Christian Rodriguez was then. So the company might not have either. I don't mind this, but the thing that really stands out is his price, obviously 9,700, but we've seen like these more expensive guys, like they're heavily favored to win. So they pay off a good amount of the time. And salary, we've got a lot of closely lined fights here, a lot of really live dogs. So salary is not, the top end is also a wasteland. So, you're not start for salary here. You're not like start for salary relief. Richie Lang, if you want to get there a little bit in like a really large, like if you're doing 150, I'll probably have like 6 to 8% just for, what if, because if he wins, he's optimal. But yeah, that's that fight more or less.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should be talking more from a DraftKings perspective. Like, what are we doing? Are we just jamming Raul Rosas? Are we playing a little bit of a Richie Lang? Like what Dan said, he's going to play like 6 to 8%. I'm probably not going to play him. I'm probably going to jam Rosas and just take my win. And if he gets me 100 plus on a 10 fight card with a lot of closely lined fights, I can just hope that 2 dogs end up winning and being optimal, which is very, very possible on this card for sure. So Christine, that's what I'm banking on. What about you?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this was a layup for Rosas and, the card that's like a love letter to Mexico. And I think it's a no-brainer. I'm going to be way under on Richie Lang. And Raul Rosas is the biggest favorite, for a reason. He is young still. I guess to play devil's advocate here, the biggest question would be, can he sustain 15 minutes of grappling if he doesn't get a finish in the early rounds? Or Richie Lang is pretty durable, but I don't really see many paths for him to win. And I think the UFC is pushing for Rosas to win. So I'm definitely going to be over the field on Rosas if that's possible, because I think the ownership was like 40%. So he's going to be chalky, but for a good reason. And he can definitely score over 90 points. So
yeah, I mean, if you're playing him, you're hoping he gets you 100 plus, and whether that's an early finish, a bunch of takedowns, like you said, can he handle grappling for? I mean, we kind of saw it, right? We kind of saw it already a little bit, where Christian Rodriguez took him into deep waters and he struggled after the first round, right? A little bit.
Yes.
But he's also a little higher level, I think, here, especially in the grappling and stuff. So we'll see what happens, but I just think he's a really good play. And I don't think there's much to this fight. We all, I think, feel like this fight finishes. Christine, did you like this fight to finish, or do you like it to go to decision?
I think Rosas could probably get the sub, maybe late second round. I don't know about first round. I think we all got tricked that one time that everyone was really high on him getting an early finish, and then he looked horrible. But I am confident in him here. He's obviously going to make improvements as time goes on. And, he's an excellent grappler. So I like the sub second round, maybe early third round. If he gets the first, we'd love that. But I'm seeing more second round.
All right, I like it. Let's move on to the next fight here. Joshua Van stepping up on short notice. He's a minus 258 favorite over on DraftKings Sportsbook, taking on Edgar Chairez here, plus 210 dog. For DraftKings purposes, 8,900 for Van. Chairez coming in at 7,300. Joshua Van has shown that can be high volume. He can throw out a bunch of, punches. He's forward pressure constantly. When you back him up, though, that's when you can have some success. And we saw that in the Charles Johnson fight, where it was probably 2-0. It could have been 1-1, though, but it was probably 2-0 in that fight. And I think whether it was 1-1 or 2-0, Johnson's corner was just like, hey, listen, you got to go. You might be down 2. You never really know. And he just went out there and went straight for him and just put him on his back foot and ended up finding a finish with the uppercut, which was sick, especially because I live bet Charles Johnson, because he was like, it was crazy. He was like plus, I 500 maybe plus 8. And I was sitting there. I was just like, how is this even possible? Like he could have won one round, but if not, like I thought it was close enough where I was just like, screw it. So I put a big chunk of money on Charles Johnson. Then we get the KO, which was awesome. But how does Joshua Van recover from that? That's the question. Like he just got knocked out. He's not used to that, obviously. He's used to dictating pace and pressure. And Charles Johnson, kind of figured him out a little bit and put him on his back foot and kind of gave him a taste of his own medicine and finished him. Does Joshua Van come out and maybe wrestle a little bit more? Does he, do different things because he got chinned that one time? Those are the questions. And Chairez is, he's not as skilled, obviously, as Joshua Van on the feet, but he's dangerous. And he could be even more dangerous, honestly, as a finisher. Not like he's not more technical, though. Joshua Van is way better in the stand-up and way better when he's moving forward. And if Chairez lets him just kind of walk him down and pressure him, then Joshua Van's going to win a decision and probably put up a decent score because Chairez is tough, but he can get hit. So it's just kind of a question in how you see this fight going. But I'm not going to lie. If Chairez hits him with something he doesn't like and he like shoots, like panic shoots or something like that, you better be careful because Chairez, he can grapple. He's got a lot of front chokes. He loves to jump guillotine. My favorite, the jumping of the gilly. And he's got other submissions, though, triangles, arm bars. So you got to be careful if you go to the ground with him. So I like taking a shot on the dog, to be honest. I think the line is just a bit wide for someone stepping up on short notice. But I fully understand why Joshua Van is a minus 250 favorite. Technically, he's much better on the feet. Christine, I'll start with you here. What do you like in this one?
Sorry,
you're on mute.
Yeah,
that's all right.
I agree with you. I think Josh Van has the striking advantage here. He's powerful. He's fast. He mixes in body shots. He's got high volume. He high pressure, and he leads. He's also got good cardio. He's durable, and I think I don't think he should go for takedowns. I think that he can be countered, and I think Chairez can get him there. Chairez is a decent striker, but he throws with much less volume. He doesn't really go for many takedowns, but he's able to snatch up subs from the bottom, and he subs his opponents when they're going for takedowns. So that's something that Fan will need to be cognizant of. I do think I like his price at 8,900 because he has the upside for a finish, and he also has the advantage of striking volume. So I'm with you there. I like Josh Van. Maybe third round KO.
Oh, okay. We're not together then. If you're saying third round KO for Joshua Van, stick to yourself, Christine. Okay, that's you and yours. All right, Dan. Break the tie here. Joshua Van, third round finish. You like him to finish here? Oh God, 2 for 2 on these donkeys on mute. Are you kidding? He's still on mute. You're still on mute right now.
I usually don't mute
myself. There
you go. No, so I'm on Van by decision. I am concerned though. He is taking the fight not only on short notice, but only, I believe, 63 days after being knocked out by Charles Johnson. It's kind of questionable to me. I know he likes to fight a lot. I know he takes fights. I know that's why he doesn't cut weight, so he can take as many fights as possible. And that's great. Like, he's young, but he just got knocked out 63 days ago. So that's like, that is concerning. I am taking him though. I think he's more skilled. Chairez, like you said, is dangerous. He does love to like jump gilly. He loves his front chokes. And like you said, if Van is a little more hesitant because he just got knocked out, if he's shooting takedowns, which, he mixes them in, but it's not like a huge part of his game. So he absolutely could get caught. Chairez does, he doesn't have like the craziest power, but he's got enough power to knock out a guy who was just knocked out a little over 2 months ago. So
Charles Johnson just knocked him out standing. So I think Chairez has enough power if Charles Johnson's doing that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you hit a guy in the right way, he's going down. So I don't mind Chairez. I just don't think he doesn't put up offense at a high enough rate, really. And Van might force the issue. He could counter him, like we've talked about. I think my issue with Van as a DFS play too is he's going to be owned because people, we love guys who put up a ton of offense, but unless he does maybe go to the wrestling or grappling a little bit, it's all strikes. So if he's not finishing Chairez, which Chairez has been pretty durable, he's probably not outscoring the people in his you got Lopes, you've got Rodriguez like just below him, even like Zel Huber and Waregi, they feel like safer plays with a little bit more upside inside the distance. Yeah, like they're both lined, the inside the distance numbers for Zel Huber and Waregi are not that much better, but they are slightly better. So yeah, Van is not really a priority for me. And on a 10 fight slate where you're wanting to get different somewhere, I think like kind of going away from Van might be a good way to do that.
I'm kind of more on your side, Dan, with maybe going away from Van. I will say the one thing with Chairez and the lower volume and stuff, I think the counter to that is what you said. Van is going to force the pressure. Like that's his game. If he doesn't, then Van's not going to score well in DFS. If Van's like from the knockout, he doesn't fight the way he normally does. Because if that's the case and he's lower volume, then this fight might be dead. Like just in general, it just might be like a snooze fest. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But you never know after a guy gets knocked out. So I think Van's going to force the pressure, which is good for Chairez because then I think he's forced into trying to finish Van more or more opportunities to maybe try and finish him. So yeah, let's go. We're on different sides here. You guys are on the Van side. I'm gonna go with the dog and Chairez side. Plus 210 right now on DraftKings. I like that. Let's move to the women's division. We got Yasmin Yarui. I think I said that right. Versus Ketlin Souza. Did I say that wrong?
Yeah, you butchered that one.
Did I? How do you say it?
Waregi.
Oh, I was never getting that. I was never getting that. Waregi? Yeah, Waregi? No fucking way. I'm calling her Yarui. All right. Well, we got Yasmin versus Ketlin Souza. Ketlin was a plus 400-ish dog. I see the lines moving a little bit down now. She's down to plus 370. Yasmin, a big favorite here. And I'll just be honest, like, I think this line is just way too wide. Like it's women's MMA. I think both girls with Ketlin, what she struggled with in the UFC has been girls that want to take her down, girls that are trying to wrestle her. Because once you get her up against the cage, she can be taken down very easily. The body lock, you can pull her right down. Man had success taking her down multiple times because she likes to overthrow when she has you backed up against the cage too. And that can get her kind of in trouble with takedowns. The good thing is Yasmin doesn't really want to take you down. I don't think that's really a game plan. I think she has 3 takedowns so far or 3 takedown attempts so far in the UFC in 4 fights. And they were all in the same fight. And the reason why she had 3 takedowns was because Estela Nunez dropped her in the first round, very early in the first round, with just a straight right down the middle. She got dropped. And then she was like, oh shit, okay, I might have to grapple this girl a little bit more. And then figured out a way to finish her later in the fight. But Yasmin she's aggressive. She likes to come forward. She likes to throw. And Ketlin can throw. That's the one thing with Ketlin is I think when you watch her, you'll see that, inefficiencies with her getting taken down and maybe being controlled a little bit. She got subbed by Karine Silva, which I don't think that's that big of a deal. She's very good grappler on the ground. But when she throws, she has really good combinations. She throws nice straights. The right hand is there. She's got power, and Yasmin's got power. So I like this fight to finish. I think one of these girls gets knocked out. I think the under 2.5 is an interesting lean at plus 200. And And I'm going to lean the dog here just with how wide this line is. I think if this is going to be a stand-up fight, I've seen Yasmin get dropped. She got dropped and finished by Denise Gomez. I think that Ketlin has close to the same type of power and good combinations. So I think she's very live here as a dog. That's what I'm going to lean here. Showdown, Christine, who you got?
I like Uruguay.
That's
more
closer
than
to JSU got. So
what is it? Uruguay?
Oh man.
I don't know. I don't know if that's it either, but it might be closer, closer to it.
Yeah,
just call her Yasmin. Just call her Yasmin.
Yeah, Yasmin.
There you go.
So yeah, I'm on Yasmin here. I think Yasmin is a more technical striker. She is primarily striker, but she knows how to mix in the takedown. She has effective takedown defense. She's proven she can go 3 rounds. 11-1 as a pro with 7 wins by knockout, 4 decisions. Her only loss by knockout. Souza, she had a couple brutal knockouts, a liver kick KO, leg kick KO. She was sub twice. Souza's undersized for the division. Her last 3 opponents were able to take her down. She is a BJJ black belt, but she likes to look for the sub from off her back, so she'll get taken down if she's looking for that. She's not a high volume striker, whereas Yasmin is an excellent striker, good pace, high volume. Souza also faced a lot of suspect competition. They didn't have a lot of wins on their record. And then when she loses against tougher opponents. So there's that as well. And she's not a high volume striker. For DFS, I think there's not, outside of Raul Rosas, there's not much on the top end that I think I'm extremely high on, but I do like Yasmin to get the finish here. I like her finish only prop as well. And yeah, I'm on Yasmin here. Sorry, JSU.
It's fine. This is what I thought instantly when Christine tried to pronounce the name. Thought about the country. There you go. Big T coming in with the. I wasn't even going to say it. Then Big T wrote it, so I couldn't help myself. And then Matty Ice, of course. You can't go a UFC show without me butchering at least one name. Probably more like 2 or 3, but one for sure. You can't go with it. So, all right, Dan, we're split. Break the tie here. Who do you like?
I'm on Yasmin. I do see, though, that the line has been steadily moving towards Souza. So the market's seeing what you're seeing. Like you said, women's MMA. This does project to be more of a striking matchup. Although if Yasmin's gonna, she's gonna keep trying takedowns, this is probably the fight where she lands her first takedown. Souza's takedown defense is pretty poor. Like you noted, she was taken down by Marnik Mann. That same fight, she, went the distance with Marnik Mann, who basically is like a punching bag on legs, I remember being like pretty high on Souza that fight, expecting her to finish and being pretty disappointed. All the points Christine made, I just don't think she has anything for her on the feet. Yeah, I think this one's pretty clear cut. Like Souza doesn't have any wrestling or grappling to handle Yarui, but like you guys already broke down, it's women's MMA, it's highly variant. This is actually going to be one of the lower owned fights on the card in general. So if you think it finishes one way or the other, you probably want to get over on it. We got Yarui at 22, we got Souza at 11. I'm good with getting over on both of those, honestly. Yeah, so
I'm with you. I'm getting over on both of them for sure.
Yeah,
I think someone's going down.
Yeah, she's 9,200, and if she does mix in the wrestling, which I highly doubt Souza can defend, then you're potentially looking at like a smash score at relatively low ownership on this kind of slate.
Watch the way Yasmin fights too. She's constantly running forward, like she is on the gas pedal constantly. And that's going to cause like both those two to get into pretty much a war, I think, where someone gets dropped. So I know you're saying Souza's maybe low volume and stuff. I think Yasmin kind of counters that by the way she fights, where she's constantly running forward. It's what got her checked against Nunez. Denise Gomes dropped. Like it's got her in trouble before. Now she's been able to figure out ways to get out of that in some of them, but sometimes you just get caught and you don't get up. Like that happens. And so that's all I'm saying with this dog. This is a very live chance to happen. I think the under 2.5 at plus 200 is very, very fun fight. If you don't want to take a side because of the lines and stuff like that, you under 2.5 and just root for someone to get finished. So that's a fun bet. Let's move on though. We've got a few more. This is one of my favorite fights on the entire card. I thought this could have been one of the top 5 fights here and probably should have been. We got Manuel Torres, a minus 130 favorite over on DraftKings right now, going up against Ignacio Bahamondes. Bahamondes, a plus 110 dog on DraftKings. These guys lined closely, 8,200, 8K. Torres, 8,200 on DraftKings. Bahamondes, 8K. And Torres is just, he's an absolute monster. I think he has 14 first-round finishes, if I remember correctly. And he's very balanced, too. They're not like all KOs. Or I think he's got 7 subs and 7 KOs. So he's well-rounded. He's got grappling. He's got absolute power. I mean, he knocked out Nicholas Motto with an elbow, like a standing elbow. He just came in and hit him with a clean elbow to the face and put him out cold. Duncan, he got the submission. Dudes don't want to stand with Torres because he's just that dangerous. But Bahamondes is going to, because he's a kickboxer. He's a guy who, he's normally got the height and reach, which he will have, I'm pretty sure, here. But, he can be figured out. And Ludwig Klein, who's a pretty solid fighter, he figured him out. He got in and out. Bahamondes was very hittable in that fight. He mixed in the takedowns really well and the grappling and stuff like that, just to kind of change it up and make it more into a boxing match than a kickboxing match, where he was just putting out more volume. And Bahamondes is hittable. Like, that's the thing. He's hittable. So can Torres be at times. So I think what happens is this is just an absolute war. I think both these guys are very good. I'm going to lean Torres here, though. I'm going to take the minus 130 favorite. And I don't know if it finishes, but I think it will finish. And I think it will finish early. I think these guys go out there and throw down a little bit, because Torres is just going to force it. It might not be what Bahamondes wants, but I think he's going to get a fist fight right in the middle of the ring, and we'll see what happens. Dan, I'll throw it to you first. Who you got in this fight? Nope. Still on mute.
Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got Torres as well inside the distance. This is one of my favorite fights on the entire card. Real life DFS. Like you said, I don't understand why this isn't on the main card. I probably would have flipped this with Rodriguez Osborne.
Easily. How? I don't even understand. Like,
it's such a banger. Like, somebody is going to die, and I can't wait to watch it happen. The ownership on these guys is, substantial, as it should be for guys with finishing numbers like this. I'm working with a new process, because my optimizer of choice is potentially dead forever. But so I'm trying to get to more of this fight. I'm doing whatever I can to get to more of this fight. It does carry bust risk, especially at these ownerships. Like, Torres is super potent round 1 finisher, but what happens to him outside of round 1, we don't really know. I think extended fight definitely favors Bahamondes. So while I am picking Torres, when it comes to DFS, I don't have a particularly strong lean one way or the other. These guys are priced. I mean, it's lined very competitively. So they're 8,200 and 8K respectively. So, especially again, on a card where salary is almost no issue, I think ownership wise, you want to figure out a way to get a lot of this fight is basically what I'm getting at. Even with the ownership, and if that's maybe getting to a little more Bahamondes than Torres, I'm fine with that, because again, I think someone's going hospital 130 for sure.
Wouldn't you say, Dan, that if you like Torres, you probably like the under 1.5 rounds. And if you like Bahamondes, you probably like the over 1.5 rounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Although, because I think Bahamondes can get a first round finish too, just because Torres is so aggressive and violent.
Yeah.
It's like we talk about it all the time. It's like, well, this particular fighter doesn't always have the highest volume. It's like, okay, well, the person opposite from them is fucking crazy and is coming to swing and take their head off. So how are they going to deal with that? Sometimes the best defense is offense in return. I'm super excited for this fight, man. This is a banger. This is one that I saw and I was like, people are bitching about this card. Like, no way.
That's what I was saying. I saw a few of those fights and I was like, wait a second, why are people complaining? Like, I get a couple fighters specifically that people are like, why are they fighting X? Right. But
they're there to die. They're there to die well.
Yeah. I think casuals just like the high name value type cards,
Yeah. And then, they're saying like, oh, the Sphere, like, why doesn't the Sphere have better fights? It's because, it's like, it's a balance. It's like, you don't necessarily need all the most high profile named fights because
because they got the production. Because they got the production too, Dan. Like the production is a lot of the show, right? So they feel like with the production alone, we don't need a ton of just high name, fights, high level, big name fights. And they got 3 like sick fights at the end with big names, right? So it's not like there's no big names in it. They're just kind of all at the end of the card, as opposed to like, what was it, 300, where there was just like big names the entire card, and you're just like, okay, well, that's pretty cool, but we can't have 300, every fucking time, So
no, you have to pay for the movie.
Yeah, exactly. You got to pay for the movie. Christine, who do you like in this fight?
I like Torres as well, but I'm more 50-50 here, but I favor Torres. I think that I agree with everything you guys said. Torres is a notorious first-round finisher. The only pause there is, of course, we don't know how he looks outside of the first round. There was a fight going later into the first round where he was starting to like breathe heavy, which is, not ideal. But on the other end of it, Bahamondes has been hurt in the first round in multiple fights. So that also plays into Torres, the Torres narrative. He's a powerful striker, throws elbows. Bahamondes is more technical. He mixes in a lot of leg kicks. He's going to try to read Torres and stay in the right range, but he's not going to have that opportunity because Torres is so aggressive and comes out hot. And yeah, I mean, Bahamondes is durable. We know that he can last multiple rounds. So I agree with Dan. It's either Torres early or Bahamondes in the later rounds.
All right. 3 for 3 on Torres. Let's go to the next fight. We got Irene Aldana -108 here on DraftKings Sportsbook versus Norma Dumont coming in now the fave -112 here. I think that line's flipped, right? Because I don't think that was the case maybe yesterday even, but line's flipped. Norma is the favorite here. Christine, I'll just throw it right back to you. Who you like in this fight?
I am favoring Aldana here. I think that she's a decent striker. Her striking accuracy isn't that great. And Dumont is a little more accurate. She has better striking defense on the mat, and she can win minutes in the clinch. Sorry, I'm going to change my I think I actually favor Dumont. My bet is on a split decision here. So that's why I'm kind of both ways. I think it's going to be really close. I think they're both have similar attributes. Dumont has more of the clinch advantage. Like, she'll hold her in the clinch. A lot of her fights remain in top control. She took Duran Duranami down 6 times, 10 minutes of control time. But Aldana has good takedown defense. She has sustainable cardio. And both of them have lots of decisions on their record. So the way I see it, it's going to be a close fight. And I actually like the split decision here.
What do you know what that prop is right now on DraftKings? I know they're -400 to go to decision, but I don't know the split prop because I kind of like that. I think this fight is extremely close. So while you're figuring that out, Dan, I'll throw it to you. Who do you like in this fight? Do you agree with Christine? It's a very close fight, or do you see one being just a better side?
I can see it being a close fight, but like you said, the line is flipped to Dumont. I've been on Dumont regardless.
Sorry, Dan. It's plus 550.
Not bad.
Just to go to split decision?
Yeah, for both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so especially given the late line movement, I'm on Dumont. She's got she uses her wrestling and grappling just more. Aldana is certainly capable takedown defender, but I quite like Dumont's wrestling and grappling. She has lower volume, but like Christine pointed out, she doesn't get hit as much. Aldana is like very hittable. And at this point, Dumont, like DFS wise, I have it projected for 23%. I don't think it's actually going to get all that much higher. It might get a slight bump, but at 7,800, now the favorite, she's screaming line value. I'm going to have a lot of Dumont, especially because of the wrestling and the grappling upside. Like, she can go to decision and absolutely smash, especially at 7,800. And if she's going to be 24% owned, that's like a no-brainer to me. Aldana, I'm less interested in. I don't think she's very likely to find a finish. And at 8,400, she doesn't really offer all that much wrestling or grappling upside. So just as a pure striker, who, again, she's probably going to be controlled for, at least some portions of this fight. I'm having a hard time seeing Aldana make optimal, even in a win. So pretty much all my interest is on Big Norm.
Yeah, I think Norma makes sense from like a DFS side because of the price tag in the grappling and, wrestling upside with the takedowns, I think are on her. I kind of like Christine's prop at split decision because I could see a round where there's some wrestling and some control time. There's not as much damage or, stuff going on. And then Irene, has some big moments later in the round. And they're like, okay, who won this round? You know what I mean? Like who won that round? And so I could see like a split coming. I did pick Irene to win this fight, but I don't have like a strong lean on either. I could see either side winning. So that's why I kind of like the split prop. I do see it going to decision though, which from a DFS perspective, I think the upside is clearly on Norma. If you're just looking at it for DFS, 7,800 to 8,400, 7,800 fighter has the grappling and wrestling upside. I think she is the clear DFS play. But from a betting perspective, I'm picking Irene. So, all right, we're 2-1 there. Let's move on to the main card here. This was the fight, Dan, where I was like, all right, we could just throw this one out, put the other one in. It'd be easy. But they give Ode, our boy Ode Osborne, some love here, getting on this the top 5 fights here on this card against Ronaldo Rodriguez. Rodriguez coming in at minus 162 favorite over on DraftKings Sportsbook. I think this is a really interesting fight for one reason. Ronaldo is a opportunistic grappler. He's not someone who's going out there and shooting takedowns. He's not like, just shooting singles and doubles and forcing the grappling and wrestling on people. It's kind of like just in the way fights go, and he finds himself in advantageous positions where he can use his grappling because he does have good grappling. But I don't know if Ode does that. If he doesn't do it, and Rodriguez just says, I'm gonna fist fight you and move forward, which is what he likes to do. He likes to he'll eat shots to give shots. Like, he's one of those type of fighters. I remember the Bondar fight, and the dude ate like an elbow, just like a clean elbow right to the chin, and like looked at him, and like, I don't know if he stuck his tongue out or he just shook his head, but I was like, okay, this dude's fucking savage. And he just kept moving forward. And I'm like, okay, this dude's serious. But it's just one of those things where I'm sure it frustrates fighters when you think you like connect flush with something and guys are just moving forward. And that's the type of fighter Rodriguez is. He's a fun fighter. So he might give Ode the fight that he would want, right? A stand up. Ode's been struggling when he gets to the ground. He's been submitted multiple times in the UFC. I think if a grappling exchange were to occur, Rodriguez could find a submission. But it's kind of going to depend, because Ode's not going to, want to get into a grappling match with them. So he's going to want to stand at range. If it's just at range battle, that's his shot to have a chance, at least. I'm picking Rodriguez, but I wouldn't say Ode isn't like live if, Rodriguez's plan is just to move forward and throw with him, because that's his only chance. So I got Rodriguez for DFS. I got Rodriguez mainly. Showdown, Christine, who you got in this fight?
I like Rodriguez as well. I think that I like what you said. Ode has looked horrible on the mat, and Rodriguez, if he's smart, he will mix in the wrestling here. I like Rodriguez everywhere, to be honest with you. I think Ode, he gets hit more than he hits, and Rodriguez has never been finished. Ode has low fight IQ. He doesn't defend takedowns well. His takedown accuracy is really bad. The only thing with Rodriguez, from a DFS perspective, is he doesn't put up big volume. I'm extremely low on this fight. I don't see any big scores here. I think it's going to go to decision, and I think it's going to be Rodriguez by decision.
All right, Dan, we got Rodriguez by decision. I think Rodriguez finds a finish here either way, but Dan, what do you see? Break the tie.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on this one. Like my brain is telling me, signs are kind of pointing to Osborne. The line's been moving towards him. He is the more skilled fighter between the two, but I have a really hard time getting there. From a betting perspective, especially just, he gets finished. He can be submitted. He can be hurt. Rodriguez has a pretty low-level resume. Like, he lost on Contender Series. He went back to Mexican Regionals, kind of tore through there with a bunch of finishes. So looks good on the record. But, Osborne is definitely a jump up in competition. We saw Rodriguez, sort of struggle in that first round against Bondar as well. So that was, mildly concerning. Man, I just have such a hard time with Osborne's chin and just like lack of submission defense. Like he's just so vulnerable. Rodriguez is going to come in like very highly owned because of his finishing numbers. I've got him at like 34% right now to Osborne's 20. Having said all of that, just to like circle back, like Osborne is he's the more skilled striker of the two for sure. And I think people are like very confident that Rodriguez is going to finish Osborne. But again, like what if he doesn't? Like what if he just doesn't? Like Osborne is incredibly live just from a striking skill perspective. So I'm not going to pick Osborne, but these ownerships 34% to 20%. This is probably one of those fights where I'm going to be over on the dog, under on the favorite, and then I'm going to be hating myself when Osborne gets dusted round one.
Round one.
But that's the way I'm playing it. We're looking for ways to get different on a 10-fight slate. Especially, I haven't mentioned this yet, but we've got 2 5-rounders, and I'm shoving on the 2 5-rounders. I went back not too long ago and I actually looked at all the cards that we've had with 2 5-rounders just to see like if both of them landed on the optimal. And I believe, if not every time, it was more, I have to look again, but more often than not, there were 2 5-round fighters. And then for 302, which was the Poirier Makhachev card, there was actually a co-main stack in that one. So 3 5-round fighters, not even a short card. I'm not advocating stacking, but like the point I'm getting at is like all the main event fighters are around like 45 to 50%. So if you're playing 2 of those, like, a 35% Ronaldo Rodriguez, it's going to be kind of tough for me to get there personally.
Dan, I will just say I won't be doing it because I don't stack fights. So if that ends up on the optimal, I will lose. But Merab gets like 8 takedowns.
Yeah.
Somehow gets finished late or something like that. You never know, but like he gets a bunch of takedowns and somehow gets finished, or Valentina gets a bunch of takedowns but loses, which could happen.
I was saying in chat earlier this week, like I could see a world where O'Malley beats Merab, but Merab is in the optimal and O'Malley isn't.
Well, yeah, because what if it goes to the decision and they say that Sean just did more damage, but Merab had like 10 takedowns? That could easily
control.
Yeah, because
or
around volume will be there in striking.
Like early round 4, early round 3, knockout from Sean 2. When first 2 rounds, maybe Merab like dominates him on the mat. Like it could happen. So, there's really, you don't have to go out of your way to play for that outcome. Just play the 5 rounders. You don't have to
all right. Well, you got O'Day. We're 2-1 on that. So we'll move on here to, I think, another banger of a fight, to be honest with you. We got Daniel Zel Huber, a -205 favorite right now. This line's been moving steadily, starting to move back down to where it should be, because I thought the line at 2-1 with Esteban Ribovics being a plus like 200 or 205 dog was just insane value. He's sitting right now on DraftKings Sportsbook at plus 170. So I know that line's moved because I got it earlier in the week and it was like 200, I think, when I got it, if I remember correctly. But right now sitting plus 170, and these guys are both really, really good. Daniel Zel Huber, obviously taller, going to have the reach advantage, a big dude for this division here. And, he's the cleaner, more technical, stay at range. And if you let him just sit at range and pick you apart, you're going to lose. You know what I mean? Like if this is just, standing at like kickboxing range and like letting Zel Huber just pick you apart, Esteban Ribovics is going to lose a decision here easily. But I think Ribovics is very live in this fight. He's very live to win this fight as the dog here, because he's just like, he's one of those fighters that he never gives up on himself. He never quits. Even if he knows he's down 2 rounds, he's still fighting in the 3rd, still trying to finish guys. He's got that like heart, and he's just tough as hell. But he's really good. The reason why he struggled in some of the fights, like the Razabov fight, was like the wrestling. Like he couldn't stop the takedowns for 2 rounds. And then in the 3rd round, Razabov was tired from all the takedowns. And that's when he started to put some volume in, and they started to kind of slug it out a little bit. I don't think he's going to have to worry about that in this fight. I don't think he's going to have to worry about the constant stuffing of takedowns. He's got to just worry about trying to get inside, in and out. And he's got that like kind of high guard, but he uses it really well. He's got nice, tight body shots, goes to the head, good combinations. He just can't stay in the pocket too long. That he does stay in the pocket for a little long at times, which against Zel Huber could get you in trouble. But I think he's got the type of game to give Zel Huber issues. Put him on his back foot, because when Zel Huber's on his back foot, he's not as good, obviously, as when he's walking you down and putting the pressure on you. So if Esteban Ribovics can do that, I think he can make this dirty enough and win a decision, or maybe there is a finish in this fight. But I really like him as a dog. I think he's a good dog pick at that price. Still at 170, I think you could still bet him. And good DFS play at 7,200. I like him for DFS. Showdown Christine, I see you nodding your head. I think you might be on my side, but let's hear it.
Yeah, no, you actually brought up almost every point that I will bring up anyway. Zel Huber is definitely the more technical striker. His volume may not be extremely high, but he likes to point fight. He keeps it at a safe range. He's tall, he's lanky. He uses his length to manage the range, whereas Ribovics is high pressure, high volume. He likes to charge in more often than not. He doesn't have any reserve to his fighting style. Zel Huber also dangerous kicks. He uses kicks to keep the space, a counter pressure. He mixes in takedowns. He likes that leg lock. Ribovics' only defensive grappling technique is, he likes to go for the Kimura, and his biggest weakness is his defensive grappling. So I think Zel Huber has it on the mat. I think he has it on the feet. 2 of his 3 submission wins were in the first round, and Ribovics has 7 KOs, 5 submissions, 1 decision, and 7 of his wins came in the first round. So I think that Zel Huber also has the cardio advantage. I think he's just so tall and long that he's going to be able to keep the distance. He's going to be very technical in his striking. And I think Ribovics may have trouble closing the distance. And neither of them have been finished. So I think this might go into the later rounds. If not, I think Zel Huber could get the finish, but I'm more on the Zel Huber by decision.
Yeah, it probably does go to decision. Dan, what do you see here? Break the tie, Zel Huber and Ribovics.
Yeah, I mean, the line has been steadily moving towards Ribovics, like you already mentioned. So that's kind of hard to ignore. That obviously makes him a value on DraftKings, given that the salary.
I agree that Ribovics is a live dog for sure.
Yeah. So I picked Zel Huber. I actually think he can do it inside the distance because Ribovics, he is extremely aggressive. He's going to get in Zel Huber's face. He's going to force the issue, which I tend to think that Zel Huber is skilled enough to kind of deal with the pressure, and he'll be able to counter him. I think Zel Huber, he's projecting to be 23% owned, and it's like I definitely sound like a broken record at this point, but like, Zel, that's the kind of difference maker up top. If he finishes Ribovics in the first round, like that's gonna make a huge difference for you. Like I think 23% is quite low for him. I think out of like all the people in that price range who all kind of have like, around 30% probability of winning inside the distance, he's probably, in my opinion, more likely than Yarui, more likely than Van, certainly, and probably the most likely out of those 3 to win inside the first round. I even like him a bit better than Lopes for first round finish and ownership concerns. We'll get to Lopes later, but I like Zel Huber as a play quite a bit. And Ribovics, I think he's going to be, he's projecting to be 25% as well. Like in my initial runs, like with this new process, I was getting to quite a bit more like Zel Huber and Ribovics in the field. So I like this fight a lot. I think it's going to fly under the radar.
Good. I hope so. I think it's a banger of a fight. How did I miss this one? Being there, I think you got as much cardio as Shannon Sharp on the workbench, 2 minutes in, breathing heavy like a dog. So I don't know about you lasting multiple rounds. I'll just throw that out there. But a nugget. What, you got a nugget in Discord? I'll have to look it up. I'll check Discord here in a second. But here it is. I'll get to your nugget when we get to that fight. Let's move on though. We've got I think 3 more fights left. We've got when you said Lopes too, I was like, I still don't know if his name is Lopes or Lopez. Which one is it? Is it Diego Lopes or Lopez?
I'm going with Lopes. I'm pretty sure.
Terrible, James.
I'm going with Lopes. It sounds better.
That's 2 names butchered.
All right, let's get to the next fight. We got Diego Lopes apparently versus Brian Ortega. T City 7,500 on DraftKings. Lopes 8,700 on DraftKings here. Absolute banger. This fight was supposed to happen last time. That's when Dan Ige stepped in on short notice. Ruined my crazy ass parlay that I had for like 50K because the fight got voided because I had Lopes as one of my last 2 legs on that because it was like one of those 10-leg boosted parlays that you can do on DraftKings. They gave me like the 100% boost. And I had the 8 fights right, and we're going to the last one, and I was like, shit, it gets voided now. So I got dropped from like, I think it was like 52K to like 20K or 18K or something like that. And I was very annoyed by it. But Yeah, so that was that fight. He ends up winning that fight, which, I mean, he didn't finish Dan Ige, but that's got to be tough when like you're planning on fighting one guy, he doesn't make weight, and then he drops out, and then Dan Ige all of a sudden steps up, and you're just like, sure, I'll fight you at whatever weight you're at. Just come on, step into the octagon, and we'll just throw down for a little bit. So, you know, he went 3 rounds, decision. Dan Ige is a tough son of a bitch, so, you know, not finishing Dan Ige, I don't knock him at all for that. So I think this is a fun fight. I think from a DFS perspective, though, I don't know if we're going to get like a Diego Lopes banger score like he's given us, obviously outside of the Ige fight, the last couple fights, because T-City, I just respect his toughness. Like, I respect his toughness. He can counter, you know, grapple, and like the grappling. I hope these two grapple a little bit just so we can see it, because it's going to be so high level just to kind of see how it looks with those two guys going after each other. But they can counter that, you know what I mean? Because they're both so high level. And in the stand-up, I'm going to lean Diego Lopes just because I think he's got a little more power. But the longer this fight goes, we've seen Lopes kind of slow down a little bit towards the end of the second and the third round, because he goes for it. Like, he's going to finish guys. He's super dangerous. T-City, you never count that dude out. He can be losing for, you know, 2.5 rounds and find a way to win or finish you. So I think from a DFS perspective, I'm going to be a little lower on Lopes just because of his price and the amount of respect I have for Brian Ortega. I'll probably have a little more Ortega in DFS because of the price at 7,500. You know, if he does find a finish or even wins a decision, maybe it's optimal at that price tag, depending on how these fights go. So I think that's my take. My pick, though, is going to be Lopes. I think he wins. I think it's a 3-round decision win, though. I think he probably scores similar to like the Dan Ige fight, somewhere between 70 and like 80, 85, which I don't think gets him on the winner. So that's my take. Dan, I'll throw it to you first here. Who you like in this fight?
I'm on T-City. I got T-City inside the distance. I think he gets it done in the later rounds. Like you said, most of it already. But, you know, Lopes, if he's not getting an early finish, I'm not really sure how he's winning this fight because, and, you know, it's going to be tough for him to get Ortega out of there. It's like, man, like the last time Ortega fought against Yair was like, it's like your classic Brian Ortega performance. He rolls his ankle during the intros and you're like, oh shit. Like, and then he goes out, he gets, you know, he nearly gets finished in the first round. And then he comes back and he wins the fight because Yair just like, you know, he just doesn't go away and he melts Yair. I think we see something similar in this fight. Lopes, I've been fading Lopes in DFS betting like this whole run of his. So, you know, he's been bankrupting me. I'm ready to go move like under a bridge somewhere thanks to Diego Lopes. But, you know, I'm going to do the very uncomfortable thing and put my faith in Brian Ortega to stop the pain and suffering just for tonight, at least. You know, Lopes, obviously, he can ruin my night as he has been at 36% ownership, 8,700. It's just, I don't see it. If he finishes Ortega in the first round, then, you know, like I like Lopes, don't get me wrong. It never seems to line up for me where I get to like play him a lot or bet him because everything is always telling me like, yo, fade this guy. But he keeps making me look like an asshole.
I'll just say it. I think I've said this before on the show, but first time Dan ever came into the Run Pure Sports chat, it was literally this fight. Diego Lopes was fighting, I think it was Gavin Tucker, if I remember correctly. And I had a massive bet on Lopes. I told everyone in the chat. I told everyone in the chat, like I at the whole chat, and I said, Diego Lopes by submission. Just hammer it right now. I forget what the line was, but I said, just hammer it. And then this guy, Dan, who I've never talked to before in my life, just comes in right under it and goes, Gavin Tucker, I maybe by submission or money line. I can't remember. And I was just like, this son of a bitch. And then right off the bat, Diego Lopes just fucking subs this dude so fast. And I was just like, yeah, eat shit, Dan, whoever you are. I don't even know you, but eat shit.
Yeah,
and
so Diego
like,
Lopes has been making me look like an asshole from the very start. Please, Brian Ortega, save me. Make it stop. I'm gonna be
listen. If anyone can do it, it can be Brian Ortega for sure. Shout out, who do you got here? You got to break the tie again.
I like Diego Lopes here. I just think that my issue with Ortega is his health. He's had all these surgeries. You know, he was talking about moving up to 155, and then he had a bad weight cut the last fight. He had to drop out. And now he's still in the weight that he wanted to get out of. So I don't know what his weight looks like. I don't know how his health is looking. I think Lopes is always going for the finish. He's more of a knockout threat, but Ortega, I think they're matched very equally in all aspects. I think they both are grappling, are submission and knockout threats. I just think that Lopes is younger. I think he's more volume. He does look for the knockout, which can play against him because Ortega can exploit him when he's going for, you know, big shots and trying to knock him out. And Ortega, having the experience he does, will look for something like that and try to exploit him when he makes a mistake. I think we either see this in a knockout on Lopez's side, maybe second round, third round, or by decision. I think Ortega's live. I just don't trust him. I don't trust that he's in good health. I think he has like a suspect chin. And yeah, I'm on Lopes. I agree with you too, JSU, in terms of the scoring. I think even in a win, Lopez's volume isn't where it should be. If he doesn't get an early finish, we're not going to see a big score here. And same with Ortega. He has a history of landing late finishes that also don't score well. So I'm not extremely high on this fight in DFS, but in terms of my pick, I like Lopes.
All right. 2 for 1. A lot of T-City love, which I get. He's a fan. He's a fan favorite, so he's going to get a lot of love. And when you see that plus number next to his name, like plus 150, plus 160, it's tough for a lot of people not to give T-City the respect as a dog too, honestly. But I think it's going to be – I think these guys are going to throw down because I think the grappling, it's just going to counter pretty much because of how high level they are. And I think you're either going to see a knockout or a decision. Like
the grappling will nullify each other, and then they're going to be forced to keep it on the feet. And it's like who's going to get it first, pretty much.
Yep, that's how I think it goes. But let's move on. We got 2 more fights to talk about. These are the 2 5-round fights that Dan were talking about. First one, we'll go Alexa Grasso here, minus 130 on the money line. She is a favorite right now on DK Sportsbook against Valentina Shevchenko, plus 110 underdog here. Closely lined fight. These 2 have fought multiple times. First fight, Valentina was winning until she wasn't. And she ends up losing, I think getting submitted, if I remember correctly. Second fight, Valentina won in my eyes. I thought it was a clear 3 rounds to 2. I don't know how anyone could really argue it any other way, but a judge gave a 10-8 and it ended in a draw. So it was a fucking draw, stupid draw. Draws should never happen in any, first of all, in any sport. Draws should not be allowed. It's the dumbest thing ever. There should always be a winner and a loser at the end of a fight, match, whatever we're talking about. This any sport. No,
it's the worst when betting on soccer too. The draw kills. Like it's just horrible.
Yeah, no, like soccer though, when fighting, there should never be a draw. There needs to be a clear winner and a clear loser all the time, no matter what. Even if it's controversial or something like that, get fucking Dana in there to say, okay, these 3 judges have it as a draw. Dana, pick the winner. Like somebody pick a winner. I want a winner at the end of every fight. There should never be draws. That's my first thing. I think that this fight, to me, and I've been on Valentina on both fights. On the first fight, the second, I was on Valentina on both fights, and I felt like it was the right side. She made a mistake in the first fight. She got caught. Okay, that happens. These are both two really, really, sick female fighters. And then the second one, I already said what I thought happened, so I felt like I was still on the right side. But I feel like Alexa Grasso still has improved from fight 1 to fight 2. And I feel like it's trending towards that, where Valentina is already there. She's already like peak level, not much she can do more. And the one thing that you'll notice, the judges, for whatever reason, like the wrestling, the takedowns, how much do they, value that over, some damage in the striking and stuff. And I think that's where this fight lands for me. I got to go with Grasso. I think she's only kind of moving upwards, where Valentina is already where she is, and the only place she can go is down from here. That doesn't mean she can't win, but I just think it's Grasso's time here, where, she looks like the winner in my eyes. You know what I mean? Where I didn't think she looked like the winner in most of the two fights. But this fight, I think she gets there, and I think she wins. I think she wins a 5-round decision. I don't want to say easily. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. I think there's going to be some close rounds where Valentina will win some exchanges, get some wrestling going, and, close fight. But I'm leaning Grasso here as my pick, minus 130. Like I said, over on DraftKings, the favorite right now. Showdown Christine, I'll throw it to you first. What do you like here?
I agree with you. I just think the narrative is all in Grasso's favor. I do love Valentina. I want her to get like this trilogy. I want her to win secretly, but my mind is telling me that Grasso is going to get the win here, especially with this, Mexican love story card. And in a decision, I think the judges are definitely going to go in her favor. And I think Valentina, at her age, her body's giving out on her. Like, I think she's losing it. I hate to say that, because she's exquisite, but where she, in her rise, she was utilizing her striking a lot more, and she's an excellent striker. And lately, especially when fighting Grasso, she is taking it to the mat, and she's been effective. And so she's taken her down multiple times, but I think that's playing against her in terms of her cardio. And I think it's gassing her out, going to the mat so much instead of utilizing her grappling. And I think that Grasso just will have every opportunity here to offset whatever Valentina is going to throw her way. And I think I agree with you. It's going to go to a decision, but I think in that sense, the judges are going to go for Grasso.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. I think for Valentina to win, I think she needs even more grappling, even more wrestling, like more than what she did. And I just don't know if she's going to be able to handle that for 5 rounds and win it out in the judges' eyes. But all right, Dan, we're 2-0 for Grasso here. Can we make it 3-0?
No, I'm on Shevchenko. I was on Shevchenko the first time, the second time, and now the third time. I mean, we already discussed, she was winning the fight. She was winning the first fight, which, an ill-timed spinning elbow. She gets her back taken and choked out. Like, all credit to Grasso there. Like, Shevchenko obviously lost that fight, but she was winning until she wasn't. The second fight, like we already talked about, Shevchenko won that fight. So, the line is steadily moving towards Shevchenko. I bet Shevchenko already, like, pretty large. I just think she's, obviously a better kickboxer. Grasso might be like the better, like, straight boxer, but outside of that, Shevchenko's got her, kickboxing game, obviously. And then the wrestling and the grappling, I think she's also got her. So, I love Shevchenko to win. Shevchenko is going to be like my favorite bet. I'll just skip to that. And she's one of my favorite plays. I'm going to be for the third time now, I'm going to be very heavy on Shevchenko and very light on Grasso. I think one, it might have been the last time they fought with the draw. I think I actually locked Shevchenko and just full faded Grasso, which was extremely painful at the end of the night. But I'm going back to the well, man. I think she gets it this time. Brian Ortega and Valentina Shevchenko, please end my pain and suffering. I'm going to have a lot riding on those two tonight.
All right. Well, Dan's holding strong on the Shevchenko side. Me and Christine have jumped to the Grasso side. We'll see who wins that one. That brings us to the main event here. We've got an awesome fight. I think Sean O'Malley, 8,500 on DraftKings, right now sitting at a favorite -115. That line is coming down a little bit more. I know it opened Merab, and then everything happened. The line flipped, and now it's kind of closing. It's probably going to get to like a pick 'em, I think, by the start of this card here. You got Merab Dvalishvili sitting at a -105 favorite right now on DraftKings. I think that this is one of those fights where you just see it one way or the other. Like there's no in between. You either see it as Merab is just constantly moving forward, getting takedowns, pressuring, holding on to him, and just O'Malley can't over time he just starts to get tired and stuff from all the wrestling and grappling that Merab's going to try and put on him. Or Merab's going to struggle to get a hold of him because of all the constant, switching and, his movement. And Sean O'Malley is really, really good. You got to remember, Sean O'Malley is not one of those guys that's just going to stand in front of Merab and, try and box him and say, I'm just going to stand here and let you just, have an easy entry to take me down. He's going to constantly be moving, constantly switching stances. And, just like the Aljo fight, Merab is reckless, more reckless than Aljo. He is legit reckless when he comes in. He does not give a shit. He got caught by Henry Cejudo. He's been hurt before by other guys, but he finds a way to kind of get through that. The problem is if Sean O'Malley catches you on the chin, you might just go night-night. And that is the actual problem for Merab. Every single round starts back on the feet, as we all know. I think Sean is going to find a shot, whether it's round 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever round it is. I think he's going to find a shot. I think he's going to put Merab down and out, kind of like how he did Aljo. I will say, too, I feel like Aljo and Merab, there's a big difference. When Aljo takes you down, I think he's way more dangerous on the ground, especially once he takes your back. He is extremely more dangerous with the grappling and the finishing upside than someone like Merab is. The reason why Merab gets so many takedowns is because he gets taken down. You can get back up. He'll just throw you back down. And you get back up, he'll throw you back down. It's just constantly do that because he's got so much cardio. But Sean O'Malley's going to be tough. He's going to be tough to to first of all catch because of the movement. So I think it's going to make Merab kind of frustrated, and then he's just going to run in like he always does, and he's going to get caught. Whether it's a knee, it could be just a knee straight up the middle, which O'Malley's tricky with that stuff. So I like Sean O'Malley here. I think he finds a finish. That doesn't mean that he couldn't win a decision, though. I think, like Dan was saying earlier, I see a path where Sean O'Malley could win a 5-round decision where there's wrestling, but the judges don't, take that as much because there wasn't as much damage. Also, he's got that cut, which I think is a little bit more of a deal just because, if they start seeing blood, the judges are going to obviously give rounds for damage and stuff. And
O'Malley publicly said he's going to try to open that up.
Well, of course he is. Why wouldn't he? It'd be the dumbest thing ever if he went in and didn't just attack right where that cut is. So, and it's right above the eye. So that's going to be annoying as shit right when that cut opens up and there's just blood dripping in your eye constantly. So, I'm going the Sean O'Malley side. I know a bunch of people that like Merab. I don't know about these two. Let's see where they're at. Dan, I'll start with you on this one. Who do you like here?
Yeah, this is a tough one to call. It's a fascinating matchup, clash of styles. And it is, pre-flop, it's a true coin flip. But I suspect that once the winner's hand is raised, it's going to seem very obvious in hindsight. We're all going to be like, oh, of course O'Malley knocked Merab out, or of course Merab just wrestle fucked him for 25 minutes and didn't let him get off any offense. The those are probably the two ways that this is going to play out. I am going to pick O'Malley inside the distance. Obviously, Merab, from a cardio standpoint, has no problem just sort of like throwing waves of takedowns and offense at you. But like, is it the most potent offense? He's not really a finisher. He's not super dangerous on the ground. And O'Malley is dangerous. So like, while I don't doubt that Merab has the cardio to go for 25 minutes, can he do that for 25 minutes and stay out of danger? Like you already mentioned, he's not really a control guy or a submission guy. So, O'Malley's going to be able to get up, and it's not like O'Malley is helpless on the mat either. Like, the Jan fight, giving up 6 takedowns is mildly concerning, but again, like he gave up 6 takedowns because he got up at least 5 times, so the
and I don't know if he was expecting that, honestly.
Right. From
to be
Jan.
honest with you. Yeah.
But he's got, decent get up, and I'm not overly concerned about Merab's control. It's just and I'm just skeptical that Merab can stay out of danger for 25 minutes and win a decision while probably not landing that like damage and all that. That's not Merab. Like Merab is a very unique fighter to be getting this kind of opportunity. Like there's really nobody who's doing it like him, like with, the constant offense that sort of doesn't really go anywhere, but it's just like a lot and it prevents your opponent. All that said, like Merab is obviously an elite DFS play, like potentially win or lose. I think O'Malley has obviously like a thinner path of getting there at 8,500, especially the fighters that are kind of around him with, let me see, looks like, oh no, he's got solid inside the distance numbers. I mean, I have them projected nearly even in terms of ownership right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if Merab comes in quite a bit higher than O'Malley. So
I'm going to say this right now. Merab comes in quite a bit higher than O'Malley.
Yeah. Like
people see that 7K price tag, 7,700 or whatever he is, like in the upside of takedowns. Yeah.
His box score is crazy. So, I've got him at 49 right now. Excuse me.
He's probably like the highest projected guy on most people's like projections and stuff right now. Like overall, it's him and probably Rosas.
Rosas and Shevchenko are,
which tells you all you need to know. Like that, they're gonna get jammed. Those 3.
Yeah, I think O'Malley could end up being like I'm not gonna say he's like a leverage play. I don't know how much lower he's gonna come in because he's also like very popular.
I think he is, Dan. I think he's a leverage play because if he finds, let's just say he finishes Merab in the first 2 rounds. Well, that means Merab probably didn't get the ton of takedowns and stuff like that. And, in that case, you're not getting those game stack lineups, or the 50% Merab lineups aren't getting there. So in a way, not saying he's going to be low owned, but I still think he's honestly a leverage play from that standpoint, just because of how high owned Merab is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting a lot of my lineups, O'Malley, Shevchenko, and then getting different from there in all the ways that we talked about previously. Shevchenko probably going to be my highest owned, followed by O'Malley, and then Merab, obviously. I'm probably going to be really, really low on Grasso, so that's going to be it's going to be nerve wracking because Grasso, she's like constantly throwing up these little shots. So I think she was also live to be optimal in a loss last time out, if I'm not mistaken. She might have even like scored comparably to Shevchenko in a loss. I don't remember. I just know that Grasso, she has like this constant little offense that looks like nothing. And then by the end of the fight, you're like, oh, 200 strikes. How did that happen? And she's doing that shit from bottom too. So for a fight that could play out a lot on the mat, like the Grasso almost fade, like doesn't feel so good, but I'm going to do it anyway.
All right, Christine.
And most people can also fit in Bahamondes into the mix there. So it is very possible. What is his salary? Yeah, so he's in the 8K range as well. So I like that with O'Malley coming in a little bit lower than people might think. I think that's solid.
Just a little bit, not like he's
nothing
gonna be
crazy. He'll probably be like 40, high 30s, 40.
Like I said, people are gonna jam Merab, Valentina, and Rosas. People are gonna jam those three. So like if you're trying to be different, you're building like only a few lineups, probably fading 2 of those 3 guys in DFS isn't a terrible way to go, just because of how high owned they're gonna be in general. But Christine, you got to give your winner here. Who do you like?
I like O'Malley here. I love what you said about Merab getting so many takedowns because he gets up easily and he doesn't maintain that top control. I think O'Malley's path here is to keep distance, try to offset the takedowns. And I think he's a more dangerous finishing threat in this fight than Merab, because he will get the takedown, but Merab doesn't really go for finishes. Whereas O'Malley has, that powerful knee up the middle. He's got those hooks, jabs. He's got everything in his striking prowess to actually get the finish here. He's going to cut that eye. I think O'Malley's also been working on his grappling. I think we might be surprised here at his ability to, scramble and to shove the takedown attempts. I think, he's from Arizona. The Spear's in Vegas, and I think he's got is his wife Mexican, or the community likes O'Malley as well. The UFC likes O'Malley. He's a marketing machine. I think that it's in their financial best interest for him to win, which doesn't matter. Whoever's going to win is going to win. But anyway, I think also Merab doesn't have the height advantage. Like O'Malley's a lot taller than him. O'Malley's longer than him. And I think that the pace of O'Malley coming in, he's going to piece him up from the upside. He's going to keep his distance. He has that length. He has that range control. And I think Merab will be able to get a couple of takedowns, but he's not going to get the finish. And I think either by damage, like visible damage and volume, that O'Malley can get the decision, get the finish. I don't think, unless Merab is able to maintain top control for a significant amount of time, I don't even think the finish could. I think people think if it's in the later rounds, it goes to decision, that he's automatically going to win, Merab, but I don't think that might be the case because they love the damage. And I think in terms of damage versus amount of takedowns, I think O'Malley can also win by decision if it came down to that, but I like him to get the finish here.
Yeah. Big T likes to hide during the MMA show and then pop his head up in the MMA chat later and put out winners. So if you want Big T winners, they will be in the Discord and the website for the members. RPS 15 is the promo code, 15% off your monthly or weekly payment. If you want the MMA winners from Big T, I will say he doesn't have all winners this week. I know some of the winners he's on, and I don't know if they're all going to win, Tony. I'll just tell you that right now, but good luck to you. He's going for a 4-time Hector. So that'll be good. At least that's, DFS contest we have for the members over at Run Pure Sports, but check us out. RPS 15% off is the promo right now. Let's give our favorite bet of the night, and then we'll get out of here for the people and build some lineups. Got to get the content up over on the site. Dan, I think you alluded to a bet earlier, but just give away your favorite bet again if I misheard you.
Shevchenko money line.
All right, Shevchenko money line. Showdown, Christine, you got a favorite bet for the people?
Yes, I like the I'm gonna say Yasmin under 2.5 plus 200. I love that. And then
you're riding. I like that.
Yeah, that's it. I can't believe it's plus 200. It's kind of weird.
Plus 200.
What is it?
Yeah, plus 200. Yeah, it's plus 200, and for the fight to end by KO is like plus 220 too.
Oh, beautiful. If
you just want exact method, I think those are fun props. So I like that. Good stuff there. So Manuel Torres is my favorite bet, minus 125 right now, sitting on DraftKings. I really like him, but I'll just give a dog, Esteban Ribovics. We were on Padilla last week, plus 200 dog. I think we might have a shot at Mr. Ribovics here, maybe running it back. I don't know if he's as good of a play as Padilla, but we'll see. Round 2. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, like I said, check us out at Run Pure Sports for all the MMA, NFL winners. We got baseball still going right now. NFL show, I think tonight, 9 p.m., the showdown, the roundtable Millie with those guys, 9 p.m. Eastern time for NFL, if you want that show. And then we got the Morning Wood, 10 a.m. Eastern time on this YouTube channel. Me, Big T, Wiley going through the NFL slate, breaking down the main card for DFS. So hope you guys enjoy that.
And if you're in the bets package, we have bets all day long, college football. I'm doing full card props, JBC, entire card bets. We're just betting all day long. It's awesome. And we're crushing it.
There you go. Yep. Whole package, bets and DFS. Check us out. For Showdown Christine and Dan, I'm JSU. Hopefully someone runs pure and ships some big money in the MMA streets, but we'll see you guys later. We're out. Peace.